Can I have your attention, please? It is now time for the moment everyone has been waiting for. Tea time with T and Robyn.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds awesome.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody, calm down.
Hey. What's up, y'all? This is Tea Time with Robyn. I am your host, T. This is my co-host, Robyn. This is episode, I think, 55. I think it's 55. What's up, Robyn? How you doing?
The Jerry Hughes number. Oh, I am like, okay, this is, let's get truthful here. This is playoff tea time with Robyn.
Yeah, my bad. Wild card is coming up. Playoffs. You're right. My bad.
Time.
It's playoff time.
Because we didn't know the last time that we spoke, we didn't know whether we were going to make the playoffs, let alone be second seed in the AFC.
How nervous were you?
I was kind of nervous.
Yeah.
But I was confident at the same time. It's been the same thing that we've talked about on other pods. This team is they're in a groove now. They've been in playoff mode for 5 weeks.
Right. Absolutely.
So we're playoff mode now, but they've been in playoff mode for 5 weeks. So yeah. I have missed you.
Missed you too.
And I'm going to be here because we got to talk, girl.
We have to talk. We have to recap this Miami game. I tell you what, it's so sweet. I am not one to go back and forth with fans. Like, I don't do that. But some of you Miami fans, woo, you pushed the girl. Because I was like, I just can't, because I like to see the result before I talk. But they had me, Robyn. They had me chirping a little bit.
They got you going.
They got to me a little bit. I had to get off Twitter for just a day or two, or maybe a day, because they got to me. But the Bills went into Miami and snatched their souls, Robyn. Snatched it.
I'm so sorry.
Snatched it. They snatched it. So they were claiming they were AFC champs, AFC East champs, before the game even started.
You saw that guitar that was the
I'm
neon.
like, what are you guys doing? This is not going to go well. This is not going to end well.
I love it, though. Don't you?
Oh, you know Miami. We hate
so
Miami.
Sweet. So sweet.
It was lovely.
You have to love the PR team. You have to love the social media.
Oh, my God. They're so bitter. They're petty.
I love it.
I love the pettiness in them, though.
I love it.
But yes, if you didn't know, if you were living underneath a rock, the Bills went into Hard Rock and snatched their souls. They took away, I guess, the crown that they never had and said, that will be mine. Thank you. And we moved on. But not without, again, 6-6, we were 6-6. And we were left for dead. Nope, they're not making. Nope, they're not going. Nope, no playoffs for them. What are you talking about? They're not in. Everybody picked them to win the division. Like in the offseason, the Bills, you would have thought the Bills lost Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs the way they were talking in the offseason.
It was a thing of beauty. I absolutely loved every morsel I could hear. After the game was over on Twitter, I was petty, but I didn't post much. I just read and laughed because it was
read and laughed.
I did because there was so much stuff out there. That game, though, like getting back on track in terms of that game, it should have been a blowout. Yes. We should have laid a 40 burger.
Yes,
but we had some missed opportunities, as you pointed out.
Right.
Missed opportunities.
So we're going to get into some of our takeaways from this game. Oh, the takeaways, the missed opportunities, so many. But some of your takeaways. What were some of your takeaways from this game?
Well, the big thing is we saw a reappearance of Sugar High Josh.
Okay.
At the beginning of the game, those interceptions that he threw, both of them, I can kind of go, whatever, and pass it off. It's a Josh Allen thing, and we talked about that in terms of him thriving under chaos. But you could tell early in the game that Sugar High was still there because that one pass that he had, the long pass to Stephon Diggs.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, like, what a problem to have, when they overthrow it like a 50 whatever yard pass. He just,
he beat Jalen Ramsey.
That was touchdown. That goes to what you said. The missed opportunities in the game were unbelievable. So you have to say to yourself, can you clean up your mistakes? Because now you're in the playoffs and you can't afford to keep making these kinds of mistakes. You have to raise your level of play because now we are in the playoffs. And not only in the playoffs, but if you look at the way that everything is kind of falling, so the Bills, and we'll talk about this later, are going to be playing the Steelers when they could have been forced to play not at home or out of the playoffs completely.
Right.
We didn't know where they were going to be. And look at them. They are in the driver's seat, and every opportunity for this team is in front of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely every opportunity. 4 more games. There was a rumor after the game, and I don't remember where I heard this, that, we saw on the camera Stephon Diggs go up to Josh and hug him and whisper something. And allegedly what he said was 4 more games.
Yep, I heard that too.
So this is where we're at, folks. And you cannot have these continued missed opportunities if you want to make it 4 more games.
Right. I'm so with you. My takeaways from that was also the fact that he played a sloppy ball. Although it was Sugar Josh Allen, it wasn't like the Jets.
No.
Right? That was just
out of control.
I don't know. Out of control, Josh. Yeah. Yes. But the fact that he reeled it in the second half shows me that he can come down, because we have seen it throughout the whole game. Sugar High Josh.
He's not able to get his mind under control.
Right.
And he did. You're absolutely right. So there's improvement in terms of, because let's face it, Sugar High Josh is kind of like the Josh that throws interceptions. It's Josh that you have to accept. He's a hot reactor. You can't change that in him. The only thing you can do is help him modulate it, help him control it and moderate it.
Right.
You don't want him to go to low positive.
No. Oh, thank you.
What you do want is for Josh to be focused, for him to be able to be focused, because that's where he gets frenetic in his head and things happen. And sometimes, fortunately and unfortunately, sometimes the crazy things work. So he's going to continue to do them because they work at times. And when they work, oh my God, we love it.
We're, as Bills fans, we're going to have to live with that, right?
Yes.
We're going to have to live with the Josh that would throw the ball going out of bounds to a receiver and they catch it. We're going to live with the Josh throwing the ball to Eli of all people, Apple, because he turned around and he thought Davis was there. He was looking through his progressions. He just knew he was there and he just threw it without really seeing if Gabe Davis was there. So we're going to have to live with that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too many turnovers that cost us to lose the game. But like you said, he's going to have to reel it in a little bit, because when we start playing in the playoffs,
it's like his footwork. Okay. He gets lazy at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing mentally. It takes a lot of, and you think about it, it takes a lot of mental energy to be that focused in the moment that he's in, right? Because there's just so much stuff going on. But you're absolutely right. It kind of leads into what we were going to talk about in terms of second half adjustments, because Josh isn't the only one that kind of reeled it in.
But before we do that, I wanted to go and talk about when we talked about the missed opportunity, there's 2 interceptions. The Dalton Kincaid drop. You said it, the Diggs, the burn that he didn't connect. The Ty Johnson touchdown that could have been a head-on-head collision right there. That could have been a flag. I thought it was going to be a flag, but apparently they didn't know where the flag was in their pocket. We got to talk about our guy, Torrance.
Yes.
Is having maybe 3 rough games so far. And I know he's going up against some elite, players on the opposite side of him. I think was Kristen Wilkins took it personal the last game they played because Torrance had his number. And I thought he took it personal because he kind of burnt him. He burnt him on that fumble with Josh.
Right.
He got burnt.
Right.
Did I say the Dalton Kincaid touchdown. The Cook's drop. Cook, you're going to have to get your hands together, baby. I don't know what's going on. You dropped another touchdown.
That can't happen.
That's 14 points right there.
You have to hang on to the ball.
Actually, it's 21 points because Johnson, Kincaid, Cook. You're right. That is 40 something. You're right.
That's a 40 burger.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
so yeah,
at the same time that you feel that frustration, you realize what this team is capable of if they don't screw it up. And they actually make points where when they move the ball. I mean, they had so much offense. I was shocked at the end of the game when I looked at the numbers and here's Allen with 350 some yards passing. I'm like, whoa.
I know.
That was a 40 burger that we should.
I said he had what?
Yeah, I know. I looked at that and went, holy cats. I missed it.
I did too. I was just happy we won.
Yeah, yes. Oh, so happy.
Yes.
Because it put us in the second seed.
It did.
That
yes.
Paves a whole different pathway. So, yeah.
I mean, the way that people were talking about that we backed into the playoffs and all of this, I just don't think people understand that Bills are on a 5-game running streak right now. I think it's 5, yeah. And they didn't back into the playoffs. They played Philly, lost, and after that went on a run. And we've always talked about December football, wanting to play at the peak at the right time. And the Bills are peaking at the right time. So there's no back into the playoffs. They're playing football. They're playing playoff football at the right time. Like
these talking heads are, it shows their ignorance in terms of how much have you watched the Bills play. I mean, they've been on 7 primetime games or whatever. It's not like they haven't been out there being seen, right?
Yeah.
But all the national talking heads and so on are like, Buffalo who?
Right.
They're toast.
Right. Exactly.
They just remember the bad games. And rightfully so. I remember the bad games. We all remember the bad games. But we also know that at any given point in time, this team is capable of beating anybody in the NFL.
And going on a run at any time.
They're totally capable of doing that. And all of the things that need to fall into place, because luck, let's face it, is part of that process.
Absolutely.
And the Bills have been very fortunate in terms of, okay, how many teams are 6-6 and end up with the number 2 seed?
Not many.
I don't know. Maybe there's some out there, but I think that's remarkable.
Yeah, I think so too. Before we go into the adjustments, I just wanted to say the halftime adjustments. I just wanted to say one of the goods for me from this game, and maybe one of the biggest plays, is the 96 punt return.
Hardy.
That changed the momentum of the game. Like Hardy, and don't get me wrong, I was just special teams is not special just last week because it showed. Yeah. And then I got to eat it. I mean, Hardy came out and he took it at the freaking 4, and I'm like, what is he doing? Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, it was another.
So many emotions in that whole.
Well, the whole game, didn't it seem to you to me, it seemed like I think Josh said this, like a microcosm of the whhole season.
Yeah. Yes.
That rolled up into one game.
Yes.
And we won. Okay. Yeah. The Bills won.
I don't want it to be skewed or anything like that we were shocked that we won, right? Because I think going into this game as Bills fans, we beat you by 40 and we know games are different, right? We understand that. Every game is different. That 40-something burger against these guys now, different team. Mm-hmm. So we weren't shocked that we won. It was just like a roller coaster, like you said. The whole season balled up into one
game.
Exhausting. Yeah.
Exhausting is the word, because that's how I feel when they play these kind of games. And afterwards, you're just like, oh
my God,
I'm totally worn out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as high stakes as I thought it was going to be either. It could have gone differently. It didn't. We won. I'm glad. We move on to the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. And all the fanfare that went with the pregame hype for this game.
It was nasty.
It was nasty.
It brung out, it really, again, they sucked me in, but I don't do nasty stuff. Like, there was some nasty things being said, and rest in peace to the Buffalo Bills fan that was murdered after the game. That's taken it to a different level. This is football, guys. Like, I read that and oh my God, your son's in Florida. Now you have to ship his body to where you're at. No mother should. My son's going to go watch his favorite team go play. Yes. And to get a phone call. That's just, it went too far. It just went too far. It's nothing about, my guy's going to beat your guy. Josh Allen's going to put 50 on, 500 yards on you. That's as far as you should go. We're not playing.
Exactly.
We can call everything. We can recap this game all day long. You know what I'm saying? But, I just had to say that. Just rest in peace to that young man. Yeah, but
it's a different time. And it's, yeah, I just can't even imagine what his family is going through. Right. I just can't even imagine. And it says something about the safety now. It's like, is it safe as an opposing fan to go? I used to go all over the country to watch the Bills, by myself. And I never even gave it a second thought.
You're a brave lady. Wearing Bills attire in all these stadiums.
I did.
That's hilarious.
As a matter of fact, the last time I was down in Miami, but it shouldn't be. We shouldn't have a society where these kind of things happen. And I don't know what it's going to take to change it. I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say rest in peace. And know that there are fans who will carry your soul with us as we go through the playoffs and onward, because that's the greatest way that we can honor this young man, Mr. Isaac, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
switching to halftime adjustments.
Yes.
Since we're trying to adjust, we're going to go to the halftime adjustments.
Going to go to the halftime adjustments. In the Miami game, they were stark.
Yeah.
Both on offense and defense, in my opinion. And one of the biggest things was what you mentioned earlier, Josh Allen calming down.
Yes.
That was big. Comes out in the third quarter, and he's like, okay, laser focused. I think that game illustrated that Sean McDermott is very underrated as a defensive play caller.
Mm-hmm.
Because you notice the adjustments that he made on defense in the second half, and he does it throughout the game, kind of like Belichick.
Yes.
Rest in peace to your career, although I think we're going to see Belichick again.
Oh, yeah.
But back to the second half adjustments, absolutely. And Joe Brady, I'm pleased with his performance so far in terms of play calling. I think he's done a good job of making adjustments, as you said, as you pointed out. He comes out in the second half and he addresses the deficiencies that were on the field in the first half. And it's not like it seemed like, and I'm not trying to rag on Dorsey, but it seemed like Dorsey didn't do that as well in terms of changing the game plan on the fly.
And Brady did it in game adjustments too.
Yes.
In that Dallas game.
Yes.
Like, I mean, we're seeing it. Like,
he does it all the time. And
yeah,
we're seeing what happens when you have an offensive coordinator that can diagnose what's going on the field and make the right call adjustments along the way. It's kind of like you said, the Cowboys game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They keep handing the ball to Cook and nobody's making an adjustment. What are you going to do?
Doing it right.
Like Josh said, I'll feed him the ball all day if he's going to run for 200 yards or
Absolutely.
whatever.
I love the fact that, the defense locked in. I mean, this is the number one offense. My bad. Excuse me. Miami was a number one offense going into this game. They shut that run down. They had 100 yards in the first half. They had 8. That defense said, we're done. We're done.
Yes. And as an aside, because this is somewhat related, but I want to bring up an article that was brought to our attention because I was on the pod recently talking about wanting Frank Reich as offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And Chris, and I'm going to slaughter his name, I hope it's Janke.
I think it is Chris Janke.
Yes, from Buffalo Rumblings, suggested that we take a look at this article about Joe Brady and DJ Mangus, who was hired after Brady was moved to OC. Mangus was hired, and Mangus was a coordinator for UB. Go UB.
Right.
So there's lots of Buffalo ties there. Yeah, and when you read this article, and I highly recommend it, it's in Buffalo Rumblings, and real Chris Janke. It's, if you're not following him, you should. Real REAL Chris Janke is JAHNKE. So
I'll link it to the pod, and we don't have no ties with no one. So I'll link it to the
because that's a great article. I think it would really put Bills fans' minds at ease if Joe Brady is just like named offensive coordinator.
Put my mind at ease because I think you and I were talking back and forth, or maybe he watched the pod. I don't know. Because I think I said I want Frank Reich, and
true.
And we both was going back and forth, and maybe he's seen it or whatever. I can't find the article, but I'll deep dive because I read the article and it put me at ease. It did. Yeah, I was like, okay, all right.
This makes sense. This fits. It works.
Right.
Flow, in terms of what McDermott used to say too, in terms of liking to have a flow in hiring from within, and I think over the last 7 years now that Sean McDermott has been head coach. He's done a very good job of bringing along coaches. And you and I talked about this in an earlier pod. How long is it going to be before Bobby Babich finds his way somewhere up the ladder? Terrific coach.
Bobby Babich, I will say I think they wanted, maybe because there's a lot going on right now. Like, people are getting fired, people are requesting interviews. Someone's requested an interview from our personnel, something to be a GM somewhere. Like, it's a lot going on right now. So it's a lot. I would not be surprised if Bobby Babich got an interview to be in DC. Would not be surprised. Do I want him to go? Hell no, because I think he still has some work to do when it comes to Williams. Like, I want to see what he can mold Williams as.
Yes. And
so
this is the thing in terms of coaching staffs, and this is what you can do if you want to keep a coach like Bobby Babich. There's no amount of money. There's no salary cap on coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Pagula is more than happy. Like, open up the checkbook. What do you got?
What do you need, Bobby?
What
do you need
here, Bobby? So we'll see. But you're right. It's such a carousel every year. There's like a quarter of the coaches get fired on average, and the turnover is just crazy. So we'll have to see what happens. But I just wanted to say thank you to Chris for bringing that article to our attention, because now I'm feeling much better about whatever happes with.
Right, I am, but I'm still, and I know the relationship between Joe Brady and Josh, and you can see it too.
It's
right.
solid.
You can see, like, Josh respects him, and you can see that respect is vice versa.
Absolutely.
My thing, it's always, if someone else is in the room, like someone with some knowledge, that is it. But if it works, it works,
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to bring the best out in Josh and you can get that out of him, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with it. But let's we forgot to talk about Gabe and his maybe potential PCL sprain. Didn't look too good. I don't know. They said it's not really major. We'll know more later on today. I know we're not going to know more right now. I don't think.
Well, on that note, I will also add that I'm extremely comfortable with whoever would be taking his place if he's unable to go. Trent Sherfield showed us something really big in
yes.
that. Well, of course, he had a reason to be hyped up to play against his former team, but
yes,
that touchdown, his toes.
Oh, what?
Talk about body control. I was
Absolutely.
like, okay. So I'm, Gabe, no disrespect, but if you can't go, I feel pretty good about the fact that we have Trent Sherfield, and let's not forget our good friend Shakir.
Yes,
we got Shakir,
and Shakir balled out. He had 108 yards, I want to say. So I mean, Gabe Davis is the guy. Don't get me wrong. Gabe Davis is the guy.
But if he can't go, we're good.
Next man up, right? It's always been next man up when it comes to this stuff.
And that's where depth
is
the name of the game. And it's part of the reason why the Bills have been so resilient, is that we've had these players come in and step in, and it's like, whoa, look at this guy go.
Right.
So we're good.
I was trying to find if anything on, but I know that doesn't come out until probably after 3 today. So, but all right, that's cool. Let's get into our spill the tea. It is time for the spill the tea.
For me, come on, just spill that. Come on, just spill that. Spill that tea for me. Spill no dirty tea. Yeah, tell me everything. Come on, just spill that.
I'm just gonna take off on that. Just keep doing it.
You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You go, because you got a good one.
All right, so my spill on the tea, and we spoke about the fact that next man up, right? When you talk about the next man up, we're just not saying, hey, just go in here and fill this. Which Van Inkel? Did he? No. What is the guy that came in for Deion Dawkins?
Vandermark.
I mean, he came in there, and on that drive, they had a touchdown. So the wheel doesn't stop, right? So the wheel doesn't stop. Dane Jackson came in for Douglas. 2 pass in the deflections. Hardy, the return for a touchdown. Sherfield, touchdown. Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp, my bad. Interception towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And then we had Bill Inspector came in and stopped the run. He actually stopped the run for a loss.
Yes.
So these guys are coming in, and you can call them unsung heroes if you like. I've heard that all on Twitter. So if you want to call them unsung heroes, I'm fine with it. Me, I say it's the next man up, because the way that this team is built, that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott has built this team, has always built it on depth. We probably don't understand it sometimes, but this game showed you. It's not always who you start with, but it's who you finish with that means more. So those are my guys, and that's my spill the tea.
Well, I'll tell you, that just leads right into mine, like sweetie. So this week we find out that there were how many Buffalo Bills who were named All Pros this year?
None. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 9. All pros? 0. Nothing.
This is, as we know, this is voted on by their peers and people of high prominence in the NFL. And nobody is on the list from the Buffalo Bills. Okay. So we're kind of used to this, like slap in the face kind of stuff, because for decades, people have dismissed Buffalo, period. Mm-hmm. It's an afterthought. So that's part of it. But the other part of it that it said to me was what you just brought up so aptly, I might add. We have all these players who are depth players. Depth players don't get named All Pro very often. And every player you mention is deserving of that honor in their own way. Maybe not. It's not the cool thing to do to name an All-Pro who's a safety unless they completely stand out like nationally. But that's the point I'm trying to make. We have these players and they don't stand out nationally. Most people don't know who they are unless you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Right. And so we have these unsung heroes, as they are called, but none of them are even an afterthought. Josh Allen, who has 42 touchdowns during the regular season.
44 now.
44. Oh, well, excuse me. So 44 touchdowns, but we're not going to put him on the All-Pro list.
But he's top 5, Robyn, or some say top 3. But he's not All-Pro. Like, make it make sense, yo.
Make it make sense. So, what do I have to say about that? That is the greatest thing that could happen. As you and I talked pre-production here, Josh Allen sits down. They ask him about the fact that nobody was named an All-Pro, and he just looks at them with a little grin and smiles and says, "Go Bills," and gets up and walks out. This I love. I absolutely love it, because this team, that is who they are. Mm-hmm. And they don't mind at all.
Underdog.
They don't mind at all. We know that Josh Allen and the Bills as a whole over the years, they play better when they're doubted. Them. Mm-hmm. When people tell them they're done and they're out and they're no good and whatever, that's when they get fired up. And I think this will fire up our team, even though people will say, well, that shouldn't have to fire up somebody, they're professionals, whatever. Come on. That's voted on by your peers. So you want to tell me that your peers, all those football players in the National Football League, could not find one Buffalo Bill?
Not one. So all the guys on that team right now, there's not one Pro Bowler on that team. So Ed is not having a Pro Bowl season. Right? Josh is not having a Pro Bowl season. Okay, you can say Steph, whatever. Right? Like, what are we doing here? It's crazy, but thank you. I just wanted them to the Pro Bowl Academy.
Thank you very much. You have done exactly what you need to do.
Pissed them off.
And so, see, this is the thing, though, T. If you think about it, so we have this issue, right? And then we have all the other stuff that we were talking about before, and the way that the playoff schedule is laid out, it's in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
They have an opportunity. They have a big opportunity being the number 2 seed. It's a huge deal if they beat the Steelers. It's a big thing. So
you're segueing right into the Steelers. I love it. You didn't even know you were
doing it. It's the narrative against the Bills is the best thing that can happen to the Bills going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. And going into the playoffs, they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Bring it on.
Have history, and they're going to talk about it. Sean McDermott and Mike Tomlinson have history together. They went to the same school. You're going to hear about that the whole time. If you didn't know, you're going to know more about it come Sunday. Yeah, but you know what it is? The Pittsburgh Steelers is just in the way. They're in the way. Sorry, you're just in the way. Don't take it personal at all. But I just seen Mike Tomlinson say some incredible, gave Diggs some great praise, said he was an elite route runner. Like, the way he was gushing over Diggs, you were like, do you want him on your team? The way he was talking, and we know they beat our butts in the preseason, right? They put a 40 burger on us in the preseason. I get it. Totally understand it. And that's what they were hanging on going into this regular season. And did we know we were going to start the way we started? No, we didn't. But it was the preseason. And now we're in the playoffs. And the Steelers are coming off a hot little streak, too. They just won 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the Steelers and I kind of look at them like the Buffalo Bills. Because they also had an OC change. They fired Mike Canada. Yeah, they fired him. They switched. The only thing we didn't do, we didn't switch quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph, confidence. He got some confidence. I don't know.
Rudolph. I fear Mason Rudolph more than I do anybody else.
Pickett.
We brought in Trubisky. I don't know what happened to Trubisky.
Trubisky was throwing interceptions, and I don't think
what happened?
He couldn't move. I know with Pittsburgh, he couldn't move the ball down the field, but I don't know. Like, the switch turned off with him. I have no idea.
Season, it was like, what happened to him?
Yeah.
He just fell apart.
Yeah.
But anyway,
confidence is real. It's a weapon,
And Mason Rudolph, back to him for a second. I think people underestimate him. He's been with the team a long time.
Yeah.
At least 5 years or more. Mm-hmm. But he's been a backup. And think about it from his perspective. He's had nothing but quarterback after quarterback after quarterback come in and take his job, the job he wants. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the season, he always ends up playing.
Yeah, he's the starter, right? I know. Yeah, and confidence, like I just said, confidence is real. He just went up against whatever you want to say, starters or no starters. I mean, the Ravens. They just played the Ravens and beat them. So
Mason Rudolph has experienced the Steelers. They don't have kind of like you said, the Bills. They don't have a lot of big name people.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team that's going to beat you physically on the field.
Oh, they're going to run this ball down your throat.
And the loss of TJ Watt
Yeah, that was a hit. That's big. That's huge.
Huge,
It's huge.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. So they're going to have tough time filling his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I
But they
think
got some guys in the trenches.
they
They got some
do.
guys in the trenches. This game is going to be won and lost.
Najee Harris, I respect him.
They got
I respect him.
Jawan Warren, also a nice running back as well. So they're gonna try to run this ball down the Bills' throat.
Yeah.
That's why I just want the Bills to start out fast, because if you start out fast and if you're running the ball and you're not getting what you want from running the ball, you're gonna have to potentially throw that ball. And I think that's what Mason Rudolph is going to mess up, because you don't want to rely on his arm to win this game.
If there's any truth to the rumor that the weather might be a factor,
yes,
that's going to be huge, because Rudolph doesn't have a particularly strong arm.
No.
And he can't throw the ball through the wind like Josh can.
Right.
But
right.
I completely agree with you. I believe because the weather may be a factor, it will be very, very important for the Bills to establish the run game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, score early, but they need to establish, I think, physical dominance on offense and just keep the ball, long sustained drives, run the ball, grind it out the way they like to grind it out. And I believe that game is there for the Bills. But I say that at the same time, it's like I never underestimate Mike Tomlin.
I don't either.
He is an excellent coach.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want them playing Pittsburgh Steelers football, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because Pittsburgh Steelers football is grind it. I don't want that for the Bills, because the Bills are a physical team, but they're not that physical team like Pittsburgh will get in that dirt with you and stay there. You know, Buffalo will get into the dirt with you, but I don't want to be there for too long. I still want to throw the ball. Well, here's some rankings from the Steelers. So they're 21st ranking in defense, 17th ranking in pass defense, 19th in run defense, but they are 6th ranked in score defense and 5th ranked in red zone defense. So we're going to have to, and I know it's going to be a crazy day. We're going to have to pass the ball.
Going to have to, even though the weather's bad. But
Yeah.
if I were to look and say which quarterback in the National Football League would you rather have in a bad weather game, sign me up for Josh Allen every time.
Right. Well, the script is we should win.
Well, I've seen Josh Allen throw 50-yard bombs.
Oh, yeah.
In Laramie, Wyoming, when it's barely 15 degrees outside and it's snowing sideways.
Right.
So he can do it, and he knows he has it in him. So absolutely. I hope they can establish the run game. I really hope they can get James Cook rolling.
Yeah, well, I kind of missed that the last. I mean, he had some runs against Miami. Again, I really want him to be a part of his offense this week, because I think once he's a part of the offense flows very well.
It does, but he's got to get in the flow.
Yeah.
That's the thing about these running backs. Then I like the way Joe Brady does it, because he lets him get into a flow. Let him run a drive, and then if you want, change running backs.
Right.
But the in and out in between, I don't think that's a good thing for running backs. They need to get in the flow.
Yeah, that's how definitely. But let's go around the league for just 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Bill Belichick is gone.
Rest in peace, Bill.
Bill Belichick is out of New England. They have parted ways. I didn't really think it was going to happen. I mean, we heard the whole season that this might be Bill's last season. I'm just like, they cannot part ways with Bill Belichick.
Well, I don't know where he's going to go, but I don't think he's retiring. I think he's going to go someplace.
He's going for that record. You know he's going for that record. He's going for the.
I think San Diego would be a great fit for Belichick.
I heard someone say Atlanta Falcons. So, and then what's his name? Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban.
Nick Saban's gone as well, and then Pete Carroll's gone as well.
Carroll.
Wow.
Yeah, we got some turnover, and Ron Rivera which we kind of expected.
Oh yeah, I kind of knew that was wrong.
But there's every year there's like a 25% turnover rate with coaches, so it's like a carousel. Let's just try to keep the ones we have because we have a great coaching staff.
Everybody wanted them gone in 6 for 6. But we're in the playoffs and we're the number 2 seed. So
like
don't take that.
Said on a podcast recently, it's like it was after the Miami game. You let them in. I told everybody, do not let the Buffalo Bills into the to playoffs. Do not do it. He was going on and on. He had a 9-minute thing on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was talking about the Bills. Is like, oh, see, and you did it. You let them in. So here we are. We're in.
Here we are. We're in. Number 2 seed.
Yeah,
but yes, AFC East champs for the 4th time in a row. You try to take it from them, and they said, give me it back. Not even give me it back.
That would be a no.
That's a no. So enjoyed this, Robyn. This was fun. We have one. No, we don't. I got one more pod to do. What am I talking about? We got. Yeah. Well, anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in. This was a fun show. Always fun talking with my girl, Robyn.
I love you.
And I love you too. You know, I always get nervous before every freaking game. I didn't text you the game because I was just. First, I wasn't even at home. Yeah, then I just couldn't believe the score.
I know. I was like, oh, well, I just had to wait for it to be over.
Yeah.
Glad it's over.
Yes.
I'm not feeling any ups or downs or whatever about the Steelers. I feel like this is a game that the Bills have the ability to win. The question is whether or not they'll beat themselves. So
sometimes I feel that, especially during this time, and I know like home field advantage is home field advantage, right? Sometimes I feel I would rather for them to be in a dome. I always was a dome person. So, and I knew that we weren't going to get it because of where we live and everything else. But I wouldn't have been mad if it was nice out. Like right now it's snowing, whatever. And yeah, it's supposed to be nasty. And I hate it because it levels the field for everyone.
It does. It absolutely does. You know? And we have to hope that we don't have to rely too much on the kicking game too if the wind's out of control. Because that's the other thing about Highmark Stadium.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know it's unpredictable because I went there one time and it was windy and you can feel the shift of the wind. Like it's just, it's just like a tunnel. Yeah, for sure.
It's so tricky for kickers. And Tyler Bass, this hasn't been his best season.
No.
So I hope that he gets honed in and we are able to not have the kicking game be the reason why we lose a game. So that's the other thing.
And he has a strong leg. So,
oh my!
But you're right. He has been having a difficult time. But yeah,
so
we'll see.
Very much. I really love you. Appreciate all of you who are out there listening. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
We do. The feedback is incredible.
Yes.
I know Robyn spoke about it before we got on the pod, and you guys.
Thank you.
We're surprised, and we thank you for sure. We thank you. But we're gonna get out of here again. I tried to do it before, and I just rambled. But this is Tea Time with Robyn, episode 55. Guys, thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and always go Bills.
Peace out. Love you.
Peace out, y'all.
Until next time, Mafia, this has been Tea Time with T and Robyn.
The Bills make me wanna